Welcome to Madden on the Line, presented by Crosstrack Media, Biz Talk TV. I'm Jo Madden, and if there's money on the board, we're paying attention. We're officially in the most important week of college basketball season. Conference tournaments are underway. Selection Sunday is right around the corner, and this is where the picture for March Madness really starts to take shape. Some teams are already locked into the top place, while others are fighting just to get into the field. And for the bettors, this is all about momentum, matchups, and understanding where the market might have things completely wrong. We're going to break down the biggest storylines heading into Selection Sunday, what to watch for those bubble teams. And I'll be joined by Mike North out of Chicago to talk all things that bettors need to know and how to smartly approach the bracket going into March Madness. Let's start with some of the biggest storylines heading into the tournament for Sunday. So locked in number one seeds. This is where we need to start. These are the teams that have already done the work. Conference tournament's more about staying healthy than it is about proving anything out there. Their resumes are strong enough for the conference tournament performances that they're going to still make those number one seeds. That's Duke, Michigan, and Arizona. They all have double-digit quad one wins. Then we've got the battle for that final number one seed. That last number seed could be decided in the next few days, depending on who has those quality wins between UConn and Florida. Florida may have the edge here because they have more quad one wins. SEC schedule gives them some more opportunities this week as well. Now we got bubble teams as well that you have to watch out there. Depending on how deep they go in these tournaments, that's Santa Clara, New Mexico, and San Diego State. Now, who's on the outside looking in? You got VCU. Now, VCU, to get a bid, will likely need to take the A10 tournament to punch their ticket. They want to go dancing. You guys look for the most out of them over the next couple of days. Now, there's also your conference tournaments that matter the most. These teams that are fighting for those last few spots. That's Indiana and Cincinnati. These teams could lock in a bid with a win or two here in the conferences. And then teams needing deep runs. You've got California and Seton Hall. Without a deep run, I don't think they have a chance. So nothing matters more right now in March than the momentum. Teams that are hot during the conference tournaments, they need to carry that into March Madness, right? The confidence carries into the NCAA Tournament. Bettors often overreact to bad games out there and underrate momentum. So that's definitely something you want to watch. Momentum always builds here and carries through. Now, there's some market movers that we're going to talk about. We're going to look more at with Mike North as well. Overrated bets in round one. Conference tournament champs normally are overrated by the books and the public going into the first round. Now, public overvalues as well, those Cinderella stories. So there is a combination of the both of those. And then something to look at that moves those markets is the sharp bettors, first half unders. Those numbers you're going to see move as soon as they come out. You're going to get the sharp money. They're going to move those lines. But let's bring in Mike North. We're going to go over how to actually attack things out there in the tournament with Mike. He's coming in from Chicago. Let's bring him in now. Mike North, I hope you're ready. We got lots of questions for you.
I'm always ready. I've been waiting and waiting. Every time the phone rings, I go, "Is that Joe? Is that Jo Madden?" Hopefully come out. Finally, I made the big show. It's great to be on with you, Joe, and I admire your work. You do a lot of great things. The hockey picks. I like diversity. I like a lot of different. I pick 6 different sports where there's many people that just pick 1 or 2, and I know you pick more than 1 or 2. So you're a hardworking person, and you get the job done. Period.
Well, I appreciate your time here with us today
All
on
right.
Madden on the Line. We got so much to go over. This is definitely one of the most exciting times in college sports here as we roll into March Madness. Now, Mike, you've been around a while. You've been betting since you were 14. What do you
Right.
think the biggest mistake is people have betting in March Madness?
Getting carried away early, being in the hole early, chasing. That's another big mistake people make. Taking too many games, trying to, but not being patient enough to maybe take 2. It's very hard to take on a Thursday when the NCAA starts, Joe, to take like 2 games and sit around for the other 14, and not do anything. Uh, Sports now has more genuine interest because gambling finally is at the forefront, which I thought was going to happen 30 years ago. I never understood what took so long. But yeah, I think the biggest mistake people make is getting down early and then chasing and, not doing their due diligence. I mean, I know you're up early at the crack of dawn,
Gotta
figure
be.
you're going to do, and I'm the same way. I still do things longhand the way I
Yeah.
did when I was a kid. So there's just more information out now. But there's a reason there's so many people that are in trouble with their credit cards and stuff because they all think they can win. It took me, I lost for 30 years until I turned it into a business,
Yeah.
decided to be more patient, treat it like it was a member of the family instead of just saying, "Hey, I hope I win tonight," and doing like 15 minutes of prep. So there's a lot of things you learn as you go along. And I've been fortunate the last 5, 6 years to be a winner on multiple sports. And I hope I can continue. It's always tough with the NCAA, though.
Yeah, it definitely is. So going into it,
Mhm.
what betting strategies do you look to isolate, especially when you, like you said, you have 14 games, you want to make money, you don't want to just be throwing money at the sports book.
That's right.
So how do you pick those games that you're going to target?
I go over every game. I don't treat it like it's a big thing, like it's March Madness. I treat it like a regular season game. I do my due diligence. Uh, if I see that there's nothing, I won't do anything. Where it's so hard for people
Yeah.
to not do anything in the morning. But to me, it like I told you earlier before we went on the air, I've lost thousands, I've won thousands, but when you lose thousands or win thousands, it's your own personal stuff. Giving picks out on Twitter, in my case, North to North, NORTH, the number two NORTH, is I feel more responsible if
Mhm.
people lose. All I'm going to tell you is we win. And if you don't want to go into credit card debt, just check out any of the knowledgeable handicappers that do admit, and I'm one of those guys. I've been in a 1-4 slide until today. I just won my first game today, but I was 1-4 the last 3 days. And, I'm one of those handicappers that actually does lose, but I'm consistent and I'll win for you, period. And that's the key, to be consistent. Don't go into a 1 for 10, 1-9. And I'm more of a streak player, but the streak preferably will be if you're winning 8 out of 10 instead of losing 8 out of 10.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
when you're approaching these games, are you looking at sides, totals, and then are you looking at futures as those brackets drop as
I'm
well?
looking at impressions that they made on me early
Okay.
in the season. For instance, I know that I've watched two Big Ten teams this year that I'm looking forward to. If I'm not going to bet on them in the first round, then I'm not betting. Okay,
Okay.
because as far as those two teams are concerned, that would be Michigan and Michigan State. It's that type of year where there's no favorites, where Tom Izzo has no stars. They play defense. They guard. He's a gruff guy. He gets calls because of his Hall of Fame type of resume. So I like how they've impressed me, even if they lose, like they lost to Michigan. I don't let it sway me because they've impressed me more than not impressed me. The last thing you could do is have a bad first impression. Okay, Michigan 29-2. I didn't see that coming. I watch them. And then you always want to look at Duke, but Duke more disappoints more than not. Last year, um, I know that I know Johnny Shire. I tried to get him recruited for Illinois when he ended up going to Duke. But John Shire last year had Knipple and Cooper Flag,
Yeah.
And they didn't win anything. So Duke is always a public favorite. I try to stay away from them. Last year, I did pick the winner at the beginning, first time in a long time I'd done
Oh,
that
wow, Mike.
with Florida.
Yeah.
So this year it's going to be a little bit tougher. But I got, I think what I got, I think I'm going to take Michigan. At the end of the day, nobody's really talking about them, but they
Mhm.
just keep getting it done.
Yeah, Michigan coming in right now at plus 300. To take it all, you guys, you got Duke followed at plus 340, and then
Mhm.
Arizona at plus 550, followed by Florida there at plus 600.
Yep.
Mike, I hope you run it back there. Plus 300 on Michigan is a great price. Do you also look at, Final Four? Do you look at maybe who's a sleeper out there to make a Final Four? You got anyone for us?
Well, I think that Michigan State would be a sleeper, but what is a
Yeah,
sleeper nowadays? I mean,
yeah,
look, the obvious sleeper would be Miami of Ohio. Okay, they lost today. They're
yeah.
31-1. You got to hear the nonsense that they're on the bubble. What kind of nonsense are we playing here? Because when people say they have the easiest schedule in basketball, well, they're part of that. How many people picked Miami of Ohio to go 31-0?
No one.
Zero. Nobody. They were part of that. They couldn't get people to play them. And they asked, like, reportedly, 80, 90 schools. But I would say, Miami of Ohio is going to be in the tournament. I think that if you got some play-in tournaments, you know what? SMU, you look for some long shots if you can. But usually, Joe, it's the favorites now for the most part, especially with the shot clock. Now, in the old days, if an underdog had the lead, they could play the most boring type of basketball you'll ever want to watch. I don't think you were even born yet. You're so young. Uh, no 24-second clock. And I'm
Yeah.
watching Dean Smith just pass the ball for 10 minutes. You just want to, go boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to take Michigan State as a sleeper type, but I'd like to see
Okay.
Miami of Ohio win a couple games. I'm not saying they're going to win it all, but you're talking about a sleeper. That would be a sleeper that nobody maybe expects to win in the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Miami, Ohio, I want to just dig a bit deeper with them here.
Sure.
That record going into today was absolutely fantastic, but
Yeah.
teams like them that are they're gonna make it through, right? Like everyone expects, I never expected them to be kind of a team on the bubble, expecting them to go through. Do you think games today, tomorrow, and the next day, like even with Duke, they're laying 16 and a half points today. They just need to come in and play the game. Maybe Duke wins, but a 16 and a half point favorite, that's not something I want to get my money to. And that was one of the bets that I had, Florida State plus the 16 and a half, because come on, Duke wants to stay healthy. And they've also got some key injuries there.
I'm with you 100%. Strategy matters. Just get in, get out. That's the main thing. You can be upset at any time. Now, I did take a big favorite today. I took,
Okay.
and it's not easy to do when you stop and think about it, but I took Arizona minus 15.5, okay, against
Yeah.
Central Florida, and I took the over in that game, 158. Look, I go by my system. I've always told everybody. I finally perfected it. It took me 40 years, 50 years, but I don't make the picks.
Yeah.
My methods make the picks, because if I made the picks, I wouldn't be on this show. I'd be losing my ass. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I also got to play for everybody here that's listening to this great show right now, Madden Online. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, I went to the board early today for you. Take UNLV. That's your neck of the woods, Joe, I believe. Las Vegas. UNLV plus the 8. Just put a unit on it, just as a welcome here to you and to me on Joe's show. Period.
Oh, I absolutely love it. UNLV plus the 8 today.
Yeah,
Should we be
I'm scared to
playful?
death of when I'm scared to death of a pick. It
Yeah.
usually comes through. I'm scared to death because Utah State. What do
Yeah.
you think about? You think pattern basketball and 3-point shots? Period.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Any chance they can pull off the straight up money line win, Mike?
There's always a chance. I've seen it. I've seen it, a million times. Whether it be baseball, a team getting plus 250, hockey, you see these teams that are plus 180, 190, and they just end up winning. These guys all get paid. There's nights that I think the toughest thing right now for me to bet is NCAA basketball this year. It's the only loser I've had so far this year. I'm 3 under 500. Everything else from baseball to NFL and everything else, I'm winning it. But the NCAA basketball is very, very tough for me for some reason. I use the same method for all my picks, but that would be the one if I can have a pretty good a March Madness type of situation, because I want to try to win at all 6 sports. And right now, that's the one sport I'm not winning at.
Okay, I am sure you're going to turn it around over the next week
I'm gonna
here,
pray.
especially when you got Florida
I
watch.
got my rosary out. I'm gonna pray.
Yeah.
I get the please, dear Lord. Believe me, I've been like
Yeah.
this before, folks. You didn't see me in the '80s. Please, Lord, please make, please make him make this basket. During
Yeah.
timeouts and stuff like that.
Mike, how intense is it watching a game with you? Because I have to ask, because I'm the worst person to watch a game with, especially when
Oh,
I've got a bet on it and I know other people are tailing my bets.
well, it
That's where the
depends.
emotion really
It,
comes to play.
it's not the wager. It's not the amount of money I put on it, though. It's the fact that uh, I want to win.
Yeah.
At anything I do, I've always wanted to win, and so the money is secondary, but it's gravy. But I'm cool now. I get it. But for
Yeah.
30, 40 years, come on, damn you,
They can
guard
hear
the
us though,
guy.
right, Mike?
For God's sake, would you guard somebody? Go, 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 screaming at the middle, my dog barking, everybody, the lights being turned on in the neighborhood. But no, now I'm just cool about it. I don't want to have a heart attack because I have Richmond +8. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
please
saying?
don't. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about Duke. We talked about how,
Yeah.
the public is going to all be hyping Duke. What's your best advice for people that are rolling with favorites? It is about the favorites getting the wins, but we're talking about the spread. We're talking about when we're betting them.
That's the whole deal. I mean, I don't care, if Duke wins by 1 and I took a -10, I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm upset. I don't care. Uh, but I'll give you a perfect example. Sometimes you want to take the money line, and I took Indiana the other night, -240 against Northwestern. Northwestern was getting 6.5, and Northwestern won outright. So, you take the money line, you're taking a big chance. You Nobody's going to preach to me about money lines because there's a reason they make them so high.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see -600, -7, especially now in hockey with the puck line, +1.5 pucks, -280. Used to be like -170. But they know that these games are competitive now. And if you want to get that +1.5 pucks, you're going to have to pay for them, period, to get that because your bet's a good bet. And they try to scare you away from betting sometimes and encourage you to bet. And when they give you -280 on a +1.5 puck line, they're telling you you'll probably win, but you might lose. So you're going to spend on $280.
Yeah, the books definitely are in business for a reason, Mike. They're making money out there, so we got to
Get in
be.
your head. Get in
Yeah,
your head. How many
yeah,
times you head screw yourself? You do. I don't. I mean, the perfect thing is March Madness. I know guys that will say, "I like Michigan," and then 2 days later, no, I'm going to take this Utah. No, I'm going to go back to Michigan because the one advice I'd give the people: don't watch pre or post game shows. Maybe
yeah.
check out Joe or me or some other people maybe go to Visson, maybe listen to some of those guys, Matt Humans or some of them, but
Absolutely.
don't listen to a whole lot of TV. Put some nice some music on and do your own thing. Unless, I always wonder about people. I have a financial advisor. Everybody has one that wants their retirement, and I have a hell of a one. Why wouldn't you want a financial advisor like us helping advise you to win? Because in baseball this year, 226 and 186. I mean, I had a dream year. NFL 50 and 28. Joe, I know, kicks ass in hockey. That's what I don't understand. Why you just want to continuously, are you too proud to just listen to people and
Yeah.
maybe ride with them for about a month to see what happens?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. So if people are looking for your bets, we'll get back to the bracket question I have for you
I
in a
love
moment.
when you get
If
back
people
to
are
the
looking for
bracket
your bets,
question.
where can they find them, Mike?
North to North, NORTH, number 2, NORTH on Twitter every day at 5:30 or early during. I have picks up right now. You go to my front page, give me a follow, and then ESPN 1000. I'm on tomorrow morning with at 10:45, and then again at 1:30 on my podcast on ESPN 1000 in Chicago. I also do the Big Sills show out of Tampa. I do a half hour with him at 3:30 with some more picks, and then when I do occasional shows like with Jo Madden and them, only people that I know what they're doing. Period. End of story.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor to have you on here, Mike. My
Yeah.
last question when we're talking about the madness, we know the selection Sunday is just this Sunday. Everyone's going to be wanting to fill out those brackets.
Yeah.
Let me know what your thought process is and going into those brackets if you have one for people, because people want to beat everyone at the office, Mike.
If you want to win the office pool, you got to pick upsets.
Okay.
You got to pick upsets. If you're going to go, very rarely, I think it happened about 4 or 5 years ago, very rarely does all chalk end up in the Final Four, but it does happen.
Yeah.
There's going to be a surprise team. What you got to try to do is ride a couple surprise teams, but for the most part, stick with chalk, because the top teams, look, and there's also, stay away from public teams that are having a bad year. In other words, what are you talking about, Mike? Well, Kansas, for instance.
Yeah.
Kansas is 22-9. For most teams, that's a great record. 9 losses for Kansas. I'm not convinced, because there's teams with only two losses, So Kansas, stay away from the named teams that have records of 6, 7, 8, 9 losses. Because if they're not the Kansases that won championships or that are 28-2 or something like that under Bill Self.
Okay, Mike, perfect advice out there for everyone. I appreciate it.
I thought we were excellent today. I got to tell you that, Joe. I thought we were great.
Yeah, we were absolutely fantastic. You got Michigan taking it all at plus 300.
Yes, I do. I got
UNLV tonight plus 8.5. Let's go, Mike. Let's make some freaking money.
And by the way, you can fade me if you want. Don't blame me when you lose. I hate when people do that. Hey, Joe, you gave me this game and lost. You can fade us.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay, but if you do that, it's curtains for you. That's all I'm telling you.
Okay, Mike, thank you so much for your time here today. You guys make sure you go over and give Mike North a follow at North to North over on Twitter. You'll find all of his information over there and where you can follow him across all of those shows that he's on the daily and where to get his best bets. But a huge thank you for him to come on, GOAT in the industry. If you haven't checked him out before, you're missing out for sure. Based out of Chicago. So let's get into a couple more things. I've got 2 games I've got circled tonight. Mike gave you Michigan to take it all at plus 300. They're the odds-on favorite, followed by Duke currently. He also gave you for today UNLV plus the 8.5. He said maybe anything is possible. They could win it outright. So look for that plus money for a little bit of a sprinkle. But I want to talk a couple of things here before we go into my best bets for the day. So I want to look at 3 different ways to really approach some March Madness props once the brackets are released. Now, looking at the first round, double-digit seeds to win. Okay, so we're looking at those teams that double digits. It means they're like a 10, 11, 12, etc. kind of seed to win in that first round. Now, a lot of sharp money goes on the under 2.5. It's coming in right around that minus 110 mark because the public does think there's a lot of chaos. So while you might not see that double-digit seed win the game, you might see them cover the game. So, but this is typically here when we're looking at the under 2.5 for the double-digit seeds, it's to win. So there's a lot of times where maybe we'll have, a team that is ranked 5th taking on a number 18. However, it's going to fall. And when we're looking at that, right, you're looking at the underdog is a big dog in that situation, but normally that other team will win it, but not cover the spread. So looking at those situations, taking the under 2.5 for double digits, unless you think there's going to be a lot of Cinderellas. Now, I don't think we're going to have as many Cinderellas in this, and that's another reason why people love to bet this one over 2.5. They want to see those upsets in the first round. They want to see those teams being eliminated in the first round there and those upsets happening. But normally there's 1 or 2, 3 at most. So a 2.5, I do think, is worth a look at the double digit seeds to win under 2.5 in the first round. It's just the first round. Now, total points in early games is somewhere you can look at as well. The first half's like I talked about when we opened up the show, the first half of games, if we got a total of 149, it's normally 70.5, right? For that first half, sharp money normally comes in on the under in the first half, under the 70.5. This is just an example of the number where it will be. Sharp money comes in there and those numbers drop really quickly. So when you look here at the games in round 1, you got neutral courts, you've got nerves, you've got really long TV timeouts as well. And these teams are filling each other out. Remember, if they don't win in round 1, they're not moving to round 2. You're going to see defense really come to play. So looking at first half totals, in these games before teams make adjustments, before you take fouling really into account in that second half, is definitely a solid way to go. And first half unders historically hit a higher rate than full game unders in the NCAA tournament. So definitely somewhere to look. Now, Sweet 16 props, you can bet a conference to have the most teams in the Sweet 16. And the SEC is coming in at plus 200. You've got the Big 12 at plus 150, the Big 10 at plus 275, and the ACC at plus 300. Now, I do think looking here at the SEC to have the most teams in the Sweet 16 will be a solid bet to go. The SEC normally sends 7 to 8 teams into the tournament, and they have a higher probability, in my opinion, of making it to the Sweet 16. So I think that is another great future bet you can make when you look when these brackets come out. I've got a couple of sleepers for you to make the Final Four. When we talked to Mike North, he did say Michigan State to make the Final Four, or Miami, Ohio. I think he threw that one in as well. Now, I've got a couple for you. I've got two. I got Nebraska. They're plus 2,500. This is definitely a longer shot to make the Final Four. They finished second in the Big Ten. It's no small feat at all, you guys. They've never won an NCAA tournament before, but they've got an incredible defense. And that's one thing I look at. I look at defenses and coaching when you look at the NCAA. So they've got the number 5 ranked defense in the nation, allowing only 66 points per game to their opponents. Their shutdown defense was completely on display in their wins versus Illinois and Michigan State and Michigan. So they beat Michigan as well. They started the season 20-0, but then they fell as we went on in the season, finishing at 26-5. So I think Nebraska is a sleeper there to make the Big Four at plus 2,500. Arkansas being the other one for the Final Four at plus 1,200. The SEC might not be the powerhouse that we've seen in years past, but I do think they have the ability. They've already proven they can beat quality teams such as Florida. They have the confidence to make it to the Final Four. Their offense, so this is a different team than we talked about with Nebraska here. It's the offense of Arkansas. They can hang 90 points on any team out there. So their offense is ranked number 6 in the nation. They get those scorings. They pass the ball around, but it's all going to rely on Acuff. If Acuff is firing, if he's hitting the basket at rapid rate, that's where Arkansas has the ability. If he's not hitting, then Arkansas has no ability to get to the Final Four. So those are my 2 Final Four bets, you guys. I do have 2 bets for you for tonight. We quickly touched on it with Mike North. I'm taking Florida State plus 16.5 versus Duke. Now, Duke, there's no denying their ability to come out strong defensively. They don't allow a lot of perimeter shots, which is something Florida State is known for. But you look at this one, Cameron Boozer is going to have to do so much in this game with Caleb Foster out. So with Caleb Foster out, I do think Boozer under 25.5 points is a great way to go. I'm looking for Sarr to step up in this one. He has a point prop of 8.5. So I do think Duke has a solid game. I think Duke wins this, but by margin like this, I just don't see it. So Florida State plus the 16.5. Then my second game, it is in the Big 12. We're taking BYU plus the points here, plus 10 versus Houston. No denying what Houston's able to do out there on the hardwood, right? But I look at this game and I do think it's just too many points. Houston wants to get in and out. They want to be able to get that win. Richie Sanders is out for the rest of the season here for BYU. I do like BYU's ability to hang tight. I think they lose this by maybe 6 or 8 points. So I'm not calling for the upset, but I will take BYU plus the points. So that's going to conclude today's episode of Madden on the Line. A big thank you to Mike North for joining the show today and breaking down how bettors should think when they look at March Madness ahead of Selection Sunday. Conference tournament, remember, you guys, is where the momentum is built. It's also where the sharp bettors start providing themselves with the edge that they want against the book. So make sure you're following along. Because the bracket drops, the board is going to get so interesting. We're going to be live here on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern as well. So make sure you're back here. I'm Jo Madden. Thanks for watching Madden on the Line. I will be back on Monday. We'll see you then, you guys. All the best and all of your best.
Access real-time data and intelligent analytics exactly when you need them. Get the right data at the right time. Learn more at quotemedia.com.
There's more happening behind the headlines, and you deserve the full story. At Biz Talk Today TV, we break down investing, government moves, entertainment business, and even sports gambling, all in one place. Real conversations, smart insights, content that helps you think smarter and stay ahead. Thousands are tuning in. Don't miss what's next. Subscribe now to Biz Talk Today TV on YouTube and join the conversation shaping the future.